Hey guys, it's Marta. Welcome to my July garden. Today we'll be talking about hydrangeas. Hydrangeas, Annabelle and Strong Annabelle, the difference between the two. Do they bloom similarly? Are the strong stronger? And what other plants you can interplant them with so the border looks beautiful. Let's go. Do you guys remember the last video about July gardening tasks? I was talking about my hydrangeas, how I do all the supports with the fiberglass rods, and that I will see when we get a huge storm if they will manage. We got like the biggest storm we've ever had 2 days after the video. So all of the blooms, of course, were in full bloom as they are now. And the rain was like someone was just dropping buckets of water. So they were going down and down. I wasn't at home. I went away for a few days. My daughter was sending me videos and I saw it on cameras and I was like, oh my God, my babies. But they did not snap, which I'm really happy about. They only leaned towards the ground, but I managed to fix them back up. So this was another learning experience that taught me that those rods are fine, but I need more of them, and I need more of them in the back of the border because all of those stems were leaning this way. So I will need some further and further. So hopefully next year I will get it right. But I'm happy that they are still looking fine. None of them snapped, so that is good. That is good. Someone might ask, you have classic Annabelles and strong Annabelles. Did they react in a different way? Are those strong Annabelles stronger? The strong Annabelle is like a better version of Annabelle that is supposed to have stronger stems and keep the flowers more upright. Yes, during the storm, the strong Annabelles that had less of those rods, only they had like 1 or 2 of the rods, they stood more upright, they didn't lean forward, they are facing a different direction, so that could also be a factor, let's be clear about that, but they stood the test of this huge storm better. Let's go and see them. So behind me you can see strong Annabelles. You can see that they look a bit different than the classic Annabelles. What I like more about the Annabelles that they always have the flowers in the lower part of the plant, and with strong Annabelles I don't really see that. Maybe you have different experiences and you can write me in the comments that your strong Annabelles have a full lower part of the plant, but they definitely stood the test of this huge rainstorm and I really like that. In terms of flowers, and people always ask, do strong Annabelles have bigger flowers? And I don't see any difference. For me, they look very similar. I have sometimes bigger flowers on my Annabelles, sometimes I have huge flowers on my strong Annabelles, so it really, they are very, very similar. And the only difference I see is that the stems are stronger and the lower part of the strong Annabelles isn't as full of flowers. As we are talking about hydrangeas, Annabelle and strong Annabelle, of course there are more of them. There's pink Annabelle, ruby Annabelle, and I think there is new one. I think Limetta, it's a lower one that is the same flowers as Annabelle, and I'm thinking of getting my hands on those because they might be the nice lower part just in front of the strong Annabelles. I think that could look very, very nice. So we'll talk about them. But if we are talking about those hydrangeas, I would like to talk again what they need, what they like, which conditions they prefer to be the best they can be. Annabelles will thrive in semi-shade. I think this is the best for them. So not dark shade, but semi-shade. It's best not to have the roots of trees below them like I have, the birch trees, and they definitely take the water that the hydrangeas need. Annabelles really need water. If you have the other hydrangeas like limelight, so those cone-shaped flowers, they need less water than Annabelles. Annabelles will show you very, very fast when you don't give them water. water that they are not happy. So these are the hydrangeas that need most of the water. So the soil for them should be really rich in organic matter. It should be at least slightly acidic because hydrangeas prefer acidic soil. And then the more you give the compost, the manure, they will be more happy because this organic matter will help to hold on to water better. And then the semi-shade position, but if it's very light shade, it's best for me. I can't grow them in full sun because the flowers will get burned. They grow incredibly, they bloom incredibly, but then I get those brown finish on the flowers, which I do not like. But I've seen Annabelles in other people's gardens that were in full sun and they didn't get that. So you might also have this kind of experiences. If so, please write in the comments. So what can you grow in the lower level, just below the hydrangeas? I chose two plants below my Annabelles, and these are the brunnera's. I really love those silver leaf brunnera's, so Jack Frost, Silver Heart, Sea Heart, those are my favorite. They bloom beautifully for 3 to 4 weeks with blue flowers like forget-me-nots in the spring, and then they get those bigger leaves that are really huge, almost like hostas but a bit smaller. But I really like them for the silvery effect because it gives kind of a glow to this border, and I really like that. I think it corresponds very nicely with the white flowers of the Annabelles. So this is like one of my favorite perennial to grow below them. Another example that you could use in the border with Annabelles, I have that with those hydrangeas, which are not Annabelles, but the lime marmalade heuchera. I think the color is perfect. These lime leaves will absolutely make those flowers pop, also of Annabelles, but other hydrangeas. This is a perfect plant because it will grow well in semi-shade and in the sun, and I think it gives just a nice color pop for those. Another idea for something you can grow below your Annabelles is this grass. It's called Hakonekloa. This one that you can see is aureola, but this is a grass that loves semi-shade, loves very moist soil, and they are perfect companions because they like the same conditions. So I think it looks beautiful. This grass is very lime and yellow, so it gives also this nice pop of color for those white flowers, and then they will become slightly green. It will also work very well. So this grass grows quite slow, but these are, I think, 2 or 3 years old, so they are not that old and they are growing nicely. But I've seen that they started growing more, the robust growth started when I added some watering, and if they were a bit dry, they were not that happy. We added, I think, 10 more minutes of the sprinkler system, and they just, after 2 weeks, I could see that they started growing more and more. So I think watering is very important with both of those plants. So you have to remember that they really like water. So you might not be as crazy about the lime color as I am, so maybe this Hakonekloa will speak to you more. It has less of the yellows, it has a bit, but definitely less than the aureola. I believe that this variety is called albostriata, but I am not sure. I've had it for some years in my garden. I've had it in deep shade and I've had it under a birch tree, and it was not happy. It grew there for, I think, 4 or 5 years. Every year it looked the same, which was a great experience because it told me that this grass needs more light than it had, and it needs more watering, and definitely no like birch trees above it. So but I was checking the pictures. I asked some of my followers on my Instagram, and most of the people agreed that this is albostriata, so hopefully this is the one. And there are so many varieties of Hakonekloa grasses. If you have a space that is in semi-shade and moisture in this part is good, definitely give it a try. I've seen like a huge ones. They were more than 2 meters in diameter in Austria. And I remember I was like, oh my God, what is this grass? It looks so beautiful. So I definitely knew then that I needed them in my garden too, and I really loved them. Okay guys, these were more examples of plants you can underplant your hydrangeas with, but of course there are so many more examples like hostas, like those low growing grasses you could use. They are in so many different textures and colors, so you can really be creative with them. But I'm really interested in how you do that and what do you have in your gardens, what works for you. So please share in the comments, let others know, maybe they will get some inspiration from your ideas. Okay guys, that is it. Today was a really hot day. We were recording this as it is more than 30 degrees, so it's really hot. I'm really wondering how the rest of the summer will look like in our country, because we never know. Our summer can be super hot, we can get 40 degrees Celsius, and sometimes it can be really cold. So it's always, we never know. So I'm really hoping for something in between, not that hot as today. And if you like today's video, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.